In the beginning, there was nothing. Not an empty void, not a darkness waiting to be filled, nothing. And yet, even then, God was. How God came to be, we do not know. We only know that before the universe, before time, before the heavens and the morning stars, God existed. And He was His own environment, bound by nothing, sustained by nothing, dependent on nothing. Then, God began to project His thoughts. But since there was no environment outside of Him, the thoughts of God, when spoken, took form within God Himself. Thus, the universe was not created apart from Him, but within Him. The universe is in the mind of God. Among these thoughts, God thought about Himself, and in doing so, He saw that He was. Thus came forth the declaration, I am that I am. I exist as I will, the self-existent one. This thought of God, the realization and expression of His being, is what we call the Word. It is this logos that proceeded from God, the thought that God spoke, which became rhema, the spoken word, and grapha, the written word, the hagios graphe. This thought of God, by which He first manifested Himself within Himself, is Christ, the Word. Or as the Johannine doctrine declares, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This Word, this Son of God, was both the Alpha and the Omega, the first begotten of all creation and the last of God's works. As the Alpha, He was the first thought of God, the one through whom all things were made. As the Omega, He was the last, the final creation of God, man. For in man, the fullness of God's plan was hidden. God created the heavens and the earth and set Lucifer as its prince, the anointed cherub, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. His body was adorned with 9 jewels overlaid in gold, radiating the splendor of divine craftsmanship, a living mosaic of emerald, topaz, and sapphire, each facet catching the uncreated light of God's presence and scattering it like a prism of celestial fire. Lucifer covered one side of God's glory, the side of wisdom, and because of this, he was full of wisdom, his mind a labyrinth of divine truths, his voice a melody that could weave the stars into harmony. Michael, on the other hand, covered the side of power. He was not made powerful by wisdom, but was powerful by making it. His sword, a blazing comet that carved the boundaries of creation. His presence was a storm of divine might, his wings a tempest of radiant plumes. Lucifer's world fell into sin, and because of that sin, God judged it with a flood. That was the first flood, the judgment of Lucifer's world. But God, by the grace placed in Christ, began a new creation. The world, once perfect, Deuteronomy 32:4, had become tohu vabohu, waste and desolate. But God had not created it so, Isaiah 45:18. It had become this way because of judgment. So God spoke again, "Let there be light." This first light was not the sun, nor the stars, it was Christmas, Christ, the light of the world. Then God created all things anew. And on the 7th day, He formed the Christ-man, Adam. God said to the Elohimic spirits, "Let us make man in our image and likeness." And they each donated a part of themselves to the man. But the breath of life, that was God Himself. For this was the mystery hidden for ages, Christ in man, the hope of glory. And then God revealed Christ before the angels. In Eden, Christ took the form of Adam, the image of the invisible God. And God commanded the heavenly hosts, "Worship the man." And they all did, except Lucifer. Lucifer saw flaws in the wisdom of God. How could this weak, fragile being, this man, be the host of the divine? How could flesh bear the fullness of God? He did not know that God had invested Himself into the man. That man was conscious of both heaven and earth, a bridge between realms, a living temple of divine essence. Lucifer questioned, he doubted, and doubt became rebellion. If this is God's wisdom, then perhaps God's wisdom is flawed. If his essence can be contained in a lesser being, perhaps he is not as absolute as he seems. His heart grew proud, and pride became a war cry. I will ascend above the stars of God. I will exalt my throne. I will be like the Most High. And so the heavens were divided.